Hello everyone, welcome to the Economy Primer series of Drishti IAS. My name is Ritu and today's session is about Masala Bonds. So being an emerging economy, we should always look for an option that should be innovative in nature, and we should always look for an option it should be that related to the innovating financing, and Masala Bond is giving us an option to finance in an innovative way, and that too in the international market. So moving to the points of discussion part, and today's session is based on the Masala Bonds. So today's points of discussion is why in discussion. So here we will discuss the related news to this particular session, and then we'll have a brief intro about the Masala Bonds, and then we'll discuss what are the RBI regulations related to the Masala Bonds, where can the proceeds from these bonds be used, benefits of the Masala Bonds, major milestones and Masala Bond example including the Indian example, limitations, practice question for prelims and mains. So before moving to the main session, you should always subscribe and like and share to the Drishti IAS English channel. So moving on to the next slide, which is the why in discussion. Beyond borders, Government of India mulls issuing Masala Bond. Masala Bond issue rupees 20,000 to 25,000 crores soon. To tap FPI's government plans bond sale at Gift City. Masala Bond case, ED justifies summons to the ISEC before HC. ED summons former Kerala Finance Minister Thomas Isaac in KIIFB Masala Bonds case. So what all these cutout says that Masala Bond is a crucial part of Indian economy, and so many Indians and so many foreign investors are investing through it, and it has become an important phenomena for this international financing. So that's why this topic is important to us, and in prelims examination maybe there can be the question that what is Masala Bonds and what is the recent initiatives related to Masala Bonds, and also in the mains examination that how it is contributing to the economy. Moving on to the next slide, which is introduction of Masala Bonds. So what are the Masala Bonds? So it is a rupee denomination bond, and basically it is a debt instrument, and that is issued by Indian entity in foreign markets. So here you should not confuse that foreign markets are investing in Indian entities. Indian entities are investing in the foreign markets, and basically it is a rupee denomination. So here the clarity should be that it is a rupee denomination and it is a debt instrument. So maybe in prelims examination there can be the question that what is Masala Bond, it is a debt instrument or it is a rupee denomination, then both option would be the correct. And when in India it has been first started, so in the world arena it has been first started by 2013 or 14, but in Indian arena it has been first started in 2019 by Kerala, and Kerala became the first Indian state to invest in the Masala Bond, and they had issued rupees 2,150 crore on the London Stock Exchange. So here we can see that here Kerala has issued the Masala Bond of rupees 2,150 crore in the London Stock Exchange, not London Stock Exchanges investing in Indian denomination, and state-owned Kerala Infrastructure Investment Fund Board had issued the bonds to raise funds in the overseas market. So we in the discussion part we had discussed this entity, that this entity had also gone to the High Court, and what was the High Court thing related to this case, that is not much important to us, but you should know for your examination that which state and which entity has first issues the Masala Bond. Moving on to the next one, which is RBI regulation, because it's very important to know the RBI regulation, because RBI regulates all these kind of financial entities. So we should have an idea that what is the mandate of RBI into the Masala Bond. So any corporate and any banking institution can issue the Masala Bond. There is no limitation is onto that who can issue the Masala Bond. Any can issue the Masala Bond. It should be financial and banking in nature. On the other hand, there is a limitation that the money issued by Masala Bond should not be used on everything, and such what limitations they have. So they cannot invest on the real estate and for the development of township and other things. So here there is a twist, and you should also know that it cannot be used for investing in capital market, purchase of land, or lending to the other entities. So these are the factors also we have. On the other hand, we have also that the rupee denomination can be invested and can be issued to those countries who are a part of Financial Action Task Force, and India is a part of Financial Action Task Force. And also those countries can also issue the masala bond who are a part of the multilateral organization along with the India, just as the BRICS, Asian Development Bank, New Development Bank. So all these entities and the member countries can issue the masala bond. So this is the thing. And what are the maturity period for the masala bond? So if you are raising up to the 50 USD dollar, then the maturity period is 3 years, and if you are raising above USD 50 million, then the maturity period is 5 years. So this is the RBI regulation related to the masala bond. Moving on to the next slide. Next slide is about what are the benefits we have for the masala bond. So we have categorized into the two columns, that what are the benefits for the investors and what are the benefits for the borrowers. So first we'll move towards the investor part. Higher interest rate. So masala bonds generally issues higher interest rates in comparison to other financial entities. So it is very beneficial for the investors. And then confidence in Indian economy, because this is a rupee denomination, so it boosts the confidence in Indian economy. And when you know the background about the issuing of masala bonds, so between 2008 to 2013 there was a sharp decline of the Indian rupees, and in that scenario the US has come up with this new phenomena which is known as the masala bonds. So this is a very beneficial for the Indian entities and Indian market also, and then strengthening foreign investment, because you will get return in the Indian denomination and rupee denomination. So in that way it is boosting the Indian economy, because here there is no sharp decline of the Indian rupee. And on the other hand, there is also benefits for the borrowers, that you don't have to take much currency risk. So there is no currency risk, because if you are borrowing in terms of the dollars, and you may always be susceptible about that currency situation, but here you are investing and here you are borrowing in the rupee denomination, so there is no currency risk. And also the mobilizing funds. So borrowers can easily mobilize the funds because they are getting funds in the rupee denomination, so they don't have to go with the much peculiarity which other currencies has. On the other hand, portfolio diversification. So issuing masala bonds helps the Indian entities to diversify debt portfolio. So most of the time they have to dependent on the other currency organization for the debt, but here they should not be dependent on the other currency and other organization. So there are more diverse option in the debt portfolios. Moving on to the next one, which is that major milestone masala bond example. So what are the examples we have in terms of the masala bond? So starting from 2014, because this has been started around 2013 and 14, the International Finance Corporation issued the first ever 10-year 10 billion Indian rupee masala bonds. Then in 2015, the IFC issues the inaugural green masala bond raising 3.1 billion for private sector. And 2016, HDFC became the first Indian company to issue masala bonds raising rupees 3,000 crore. So these are the milestone and examples we have related to the masala bonds. And in 2021 also Asian Development listed 10-year masala bonds worth rupees 300 crore. So what we have seen that so many entities are investing and raising money through the masala bonds, and they are proving very useful for the Indian economy. Moving on to the next slide. Next slide is about what are the limitations we have in terms of the masala bond. So the first limitation is the RBI regulation, that it has pointed out few regulation that it cannot be used for the real estate, it cannot be used for the development of township. So the money cannot be used for everything. So this is the first limitation we have. And then relatively riskier also, because financing through masala bond is of course riskier, because you are raising money through a foreign market. And so in that situation, if you don't know the scenario of that foreign market, it becomes riskier for you. So this is also one of the limitations of the masala bonds. Moving to the next slide, which is a practice question for prelims. Masala bonds often mentioned in financial news refers to. So these are the options you have. So kindly read the options and comment down that what is a particular answer for this particular question. Moving on to the mains question, why masala bonds can be a game changer for Indian companies. So we have seen the different milestone by the Indian companies and Indian banking organization who are raising so much money by issuing the masala bond. So in that scenario, it can be the game changer because there are certain benefits associated with the masala bond. The first thing is that you are getting things in rupee denomination. Then no much currency risk unlike the other organization. Then we also have like this, that this is going to boost the Indian economy because so many we don't know about the foreign markets, and so many Indian financial entities and banking organization are very skeptical about the foreign markets because they don't know the currency situation there. But by issuing the masala bonds, they are getting money in terms of the rupee denomination, and so they don't have to much go into so much peculiarities, so much technicalities also. So this can be also one of the reasons. And also we can also analyze the Indian market situation. So recently we have seen that current ruling political party BJP has won the 3 states. So all these factors are making viable for the investor to issue the masala bond because Indian markets are in the condition of the boom, and it is also good situation for the Indian stock market, and so many wants to invest because people are assuming that there will be no major political shift in upcoming election because it is considered that this is a semi-final for the final election. So the political situation is also making it very much significant. On the other hand, in the last decades we have seen that India has attracted more FDI than any other country. So all these options makes this particular situation very viable for to issue masala bond. And in the intro also you have to first write down that what is the masala bond, and then in conclusion that you can write that despite having so much limitations, that there are risk involved and there are risk for investor, because here investor has to bond the risk, not the borrowers. So you have to be here very careful. But despite of having limitation, masala bonds is issuing a game changer for Indian economies, and so many Indian companies are getting benefits from this particular thing. So I hope you like this session. If you have any queries related to this session, kindly ask in the comment section, and please like, share and subscribe the Drishti IAS English channel. Thank you.